How did chivalry go from being about medieval battle etiquette to serving women through courtship?
Men trying to get laid.
Do you think we have a simping problem in this country, and if so, why?
There's definitely a simping problem in this country. Some people might call it a problem. Some people might be capitalizing off of it. It depends on your views.
Do you believe that chivalry is dead and feminism killed it?
I don't think that I think feminism is just the equality of both the sexes. No, but yes, I do think it is dead.
Feminism, I think, is misunderstood in that it's women being treated equally. And I guess in a way that would destroy the traditional idea of chivalry, in that instead of the man doing everything for the woman, they should do things for each other. It just seems fair.
You know, before, a woman wouldn't ask for it. A man would just do that, and that shows that he's a gentleman. Now, women are demanding these things. Like, you got to take me out, you got to pay for the whole bill.
That means that I have all the power, and anything that I want, the dude has to do before he can get what I got going on here.
If you don't, you're not getting no ass. Like, and it's like, it shouldn't be an agreement like that.
Men are typically expected to approach women, ask them out, pick them up, pay for dates, make the first move. What part of the current dating process isn't chivalry?
I'm not sure who expects those things, because everyone I know, the women I know, they expect to pay 50-50 when they go out with someone new. And yeah, chivalry isn't really a one-sided thing.
I just think that's just what you have to do as a man. Me as a woman, I'm not going to go up to no man and try to take a man out on a date.
How can chivalry be dead when simping is alive and well?
I don't believe that simping is alive and well.
I think it's a part of the etiquette standards that we were raised with, that we don't really know the origins.
What's the difference between simping and chivalry?
I feel like the difference between chivalry is that a man is being a man and he's catering to like his woman and like trying to like get a girl, and I feel like simping is kind of just like they're super desperate.
The difference between simping and chivalry is chivalry is manners. Chivalry is how well you were raised to be mannerable towards people and people of the opposite sex. I think simping is where you get taken advantage of because of that very reason.
If men are taught to give women preferential treatment and women are taught to expect preferential treatment, how is that not simping?
Because there's a difference, there's a role between a woman and there's a role between a man, and I still believe in the traditional like 1960s, like the woman stays home and with the kids and raises it and the man provides.
What does feminine chivalry look like?
Feminine chivalry looks like she'll take you out on a date sometimes, or she's bringing things to the table. She might not take out the trash, but she might cook you a meal. And I think that goes hand in hand. Like, we need more of that. It should be 50-50.
How do modern women typically respond if you ask them to make you a sandwich?
Modern women, some women will tell you to go do it yourself, or I'm not your mom.
They would go on about how you're misogynist and how you're abusive and all that stuff.
Even if women did cook and clean, which they already do for themselves anyway, why would that be a fair trade for the sacrifices men are expected to make?
Traditionalism.
I think it's unfair to just use the example of cooking and cleaning because women do a lot more. If you're a wife a mother, there's a lot to do within that. So
I don't think it's a fair trade. There's always going to be more pressure on the man to provide, to keep his job, to basically hold the world on his shoulders. It's not a fair trade at all. It never will be.
Why would women appreciate the sacrifices men make if men are going to continue making those sacrifices regardless?
Exactly. That is a great one right there.
I think that women are never going to appreciate it the same way that it has ever been appreciated, simply because now they're being conditioned to believe that they're entitled to it simply because they're a woman.
You see, and that goes back into the simping. Some guys like they're not even man enough to be like to have their own I don't want to say confidence, but at least respect for yourself. For if a woman turns you down, you go to the next one. The thing about these simps is that they would let a woman disrespect them and still give her money and still try to, you know, play the game with her. And I'm like, yeah, you're not even a man to me at that point.
Why is a man expected to proudly give away his assets in the hopes that a woman will reciprocate?
Because it's common throughout nature for the males to give trinkets to the females in order to get what they want.
So how can men complain about simping at the same time we're telling men they have a masculine duty to protect and provide for women?
There's a thin line. There's a thin line between being a man and simping. And when we blur that line, we're now confused about what a man is.
Why do men have a masculine duty to serve women, but women don't have a feminine duty to serve men?
I think it has a lot to do with our upbringing and the media and television. You're supposed to do everything for a woman in order to gain her love or trust.
How is that not simping if it doesn't go both ways?
It is simping. It definitely is simping. It doesn't go both ways. That's right, yeah.
I think it is simping. I think people need to wake up, and I think chivalry needs to die if it's not reciprocated.
How can relationships ever be 50-50 if the man is always the one who's expected to sacrifice himself for the woman and serve her with chivalry?
That is a misleading question because the man isn't always expected to give up everything for the woman. My relationships have always been 50-50 and have been happy.
If men admit women will never be happy, why are men bound to please them?
Because that's what society tells them to do. Because now, you know, with the new age of feminism, it's all about entitlement, in my opinion.
If chivalry is supposed to go both ways, why are we always shaming the men to give more and not women?
It's just that double standard.
It could come down to biology, that there are a lot of things that socially men are expected to do, carry heavy things, get the door, whatever. Women don't have that stigma yet, which is a positive that I'm not expected to do that. But, I mean, in the sense that I don't have to, and if I do, I get extra points. But I think it stems from men have always been expected to do that. So if they don't, they're rude. Women have never been expected to do it. So if they don't do it, they're just another woman.
Why do men want to protect and provide by nature, but women don't want to cook and clean by nature?
I feel like it just depends on the woman because where I come from, like my family, that's naturally how we are. The men protect us and we cater to our men.
Women by nature want to nurture. It's in their biology, but that doesn't necessarily mean cooking and cleaning. When we were cave people, we didn't naturally want to clean our houses or our homes or our caves. So the biological need to protect that a man has, as back then a hunter, is still in the biology, and the biological expectation that women have as a nurturer is still in there. It's just defined differently by once we started buying houses, somebody had to clean them.
If chivalry did not exist, how would women define a gentleman or a real man?
I just feel like we put so many expectations on the way like our men should act.
I think a real man is it's not a fair term.
Because like a traditional man, like a gentleman, they open the door, they're respectful, they're kind, they're not like very pushy on like their partners, like they're just respectful.
A man is whatever he happens to be, and if you're not being who you are, then there's no point in being in a relationship anyway. So,
is chivalry a choice or an expectation?
I think it's a choice. If you're not who she wants in the way you act, then she should find someone else.
It's definitely an expectation in this country. And unfortunately, if you're not up on that game, then you don't have a choice.
Does a man's behavior change after a woman finally gives him sex? And if so, how?
It does. A man becomes less interested after he does get sex. Well, I would say a man that was only interested in sex will become less interested after he gets sex.
So isn't chivalry all about getting laid? And if so, how is that not simping?
I don't believe that chivalry is all about getting laid. In this culture, I feel like that's kind of how most people are now, just because sex is something that's just given around like for free or paid for now, versus in the old days that was something that was very intimate and like very close with your partner. And I just feel like it should be back to the old days and not simping anymore.
If men have to earn sex, are men forced to simp to get their needs met?
Yeah, basically.
Can you explain that? What do you mean?
I think it depends on the woman, because some women will give it to a man that doesn't do that stuff for them, but a lot of women wouldn't give it up if the guy doesn't treat them like a woman and, you know, be a gentleman and stuff. So
What's the difference between being a chivalrous gentleman and being a simp?
A chivalrous gentleman does things for someone because they care about the person and want to be nice. A simp is actually not a very nice term, and doesn't really have a very clear definition anyway.
What does it mean when people say that it's a man's world?
I believe they're referring to the patriarchy.
A man's world, as in men created everything around us. We are the workers. We're the ones that lay down the pavement. We're the ones that build the buildings.
They mean that men run everything and that it's just up to the man to make all the decisions, but it's not necessarily true. If you're a strong woman and you make your own choices and you're independent, you can do anything a man can.
How is it a man's world when men are bound to serve women through chivalry while women can do what they want?
Yeah, I believe that that's a thing of now, this new age, especially with feminism and things like that. Society, social media, platforms like OnlyFans, where it's normal to, just being, if you're a woman, you're entitled to men's money and men's attention and never give them anything in return.
You could say that, but you can also say that women are bound to serve men. So
How so?
you can, well, being put together, making sandwiches, cleaning the house, doing all those typical roles.
Opening the door, giving up your seat, pulling out a chair, pumping her gas, ladies first. How is that not a public demonstration of men's inferior status to women?
I don't think it's an inferior status, because you're not necessarily like submitting yourself to them. I think it's just a matter of putting an effort into that woman to make sure they feel good.
If we live in a patriarchy, why would men put chivalry upon themselves, placing them at a lower status to women?
It's not by choice.
it's a choice, because if a man does want a woman, he would choose to do that. And if he doesn't do it, then he probably wouldn't get the woman.
It's about these origins that we're not taught and we don't understand where they came from.
That's just a manly thing to do, and to be a gentleman.
Who defines that? Who says that that's what the man is supposed to do?
I don't know. My dad.
And my dad, but he's gone, so I don't know where it came from.
We don't understand the history or why we do these things, and we just do them because it's a cultural standard.
How did chivalry go from being about medieval battle etiquette to serving women through courtship?
That's a good one. That's tough. I mean, you just got to look at the times, how the times are changing. Back then, you're talking about like way back. Like back then, I guess, the lifespan was like a lot shorter too. So, people were only living to like 30, 40, something like that. When chivalry like started, where this stuff came from, where the word comes from. Yeah, I mean,
are you aware that the original term simp came from chivalrous white knight simp?
Really? I did not know that. I thought simping was like a cool new age term that kids made up.
And lastly, if we live in a patriarchy, why would men put chivalry upon themselves, placing them at a lower status to women?
I don't think that they place themselves in a lower status to women, but I don't know, if I were a man, I'd want a woman in my life, and if that's the way to get her, I'm going to do simple things like that, so.
Simple?
You got me there.